this is working fine for me. Okay, this is going to be a presentation first about how to basically set up a club in the system. Some of you are far past this already and probably know more about it than I do, in that you know, I'm dealing with people's issues with clubs more than setting up my own, after all. And I've been trying to pass along any information I get out of you of things that are disconnects or improvements to the system have been passed on through to the national board. Some of them they've dealt with, some of them they're in debate on at the moment, and some of them going, too bad. You know, it's not going to be a situation where everybody's going to get what they want, but hopefully everybody should get what they need. The original process for this, I asked for everybody's email address so that they could be an admin. In any club, you're going to have admins who will do registration, who will do the financial transactions of your club, record keeping, all sorts of things. There'll be more than one administrator for every club eventually, and we'll sort out how they see the information that they need and are restricted to the information that they need as well. So from the beginning, you click on the forgot password on the previous page, enter in the email that you've provided for me to be the administrator from your club. In my case, I'll just use my personal one. You'll get an email back. Somebody's got their speaker on.
Why is that sources thing?
You got one or two mics still on.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut everybody off and turn you back on. Can you unmute yourself, Rod?
I was trying. My Alt
There you are.
A,
There you are.
my Alt A didn't work. Anyway, once you submit the email that you've already sent me to this system, you'll get an email and how to reset. Click on the link that's provided in the email. It'll send you back to the system and you choose your new password. It does not have any record of who you are now, even if you've got a recognized Pickleball Canada email address with a password that you use. It doesn't recognize it right now. You need a new one, which is one of the reasons why I asked for club specific emails. Separate the duties of being a member of Pickleball Canada with being an administrator for your club. Anyway, I do not need to reset my password, so I'm going to go back to this admin login page. Once you log into the system, you'll get a screen similar to this. I probably have more on my screen than some of you will see now. In here, the My Events is to be announced. It's not coming yet. My Members is where you find your club. Places to Play can be updated by you, and you can add a location for under your profile for where your club plays. All sorts of information is available there. The red dots are mandatories. Actually, I'm going to try and make this a touch bigger. Is that easier to see?
Yes.
All the red dots are mandatory, including postal codes, which is tough to find for municipal facilities sometimes. Canada Post has a postal code lookup that you can at least come close, and it will highlight where your location is in a Google Maps app or in Bing Maps, Apple Maps. You can put on the schedule, number of courts, indoor or outdoor. This is not mandatory. We can have the average number of players that changes for every club. Fees that are required. I don't know that this is necessary for the public to know. Just information for your club and that you'll have for your membership. Additional details on what type of surface it is, what's available as far as restrooms, whether it's a public. Like I say, it's pretty detailed in the information you can provide. You can pick and choose what you want to say. My registrations this is one of the reasons why I wanted separate email addresses for your club admin and your personal. This will show the clubs that you have joined. In my case, I'm in several clubs in the demo system, so a lot of the information shows up there. But you really want to separate your club duties from your personal profile within the Pickleball Canada national system. If you click on My Members, you get clubs that you are a member of. You will only have yours appearing here. I've been in several clubs, the Sables that I've made up, the Club BC and Pickleball British Columbia. And this is the one I'm going to be working on today. It says it's past memberships because I'm actually not a member of it yet. Nobody is. It's just blank. We'll go through some of these buttons later, but with a club with no members in it, there's no data there. So it's really not worth looking at. We'll check the demo sites later to see what information you can find here and how you can use it. Here you can manage who is an admin in your club. And here, I'm the master email administrator in this club. I added Mr. No Email and gave him partial access. Your treasurer is going to have to get into reports. Your club secretary may have access to the email system, but not anything else. You as a registrar will have full access to the member list, but you might want to give that to someone else in your organization as well. And an ability to manage admins. The master up at the top of the screen has that ability, but you can deny that to anybody else in the club if you want. And like I say, this can be populated with as many admins as you want, specific to the job application that they have and what you want them to see and have access to be able to change. Okay, this web page that's here is the one that the system will build for you. Right now, this club has nothing in it, but it will show up later as we build the club in the system. To start changing the information and adding it to your club, click on Edit Settings. I've done a little bit of work in here, and I've been told today that some of the clubs are finding this information populated already. I'm assuming that Pickleball Canada had some information for your clubs and filled it out, because we haven't done that. And if you haven't done it, it just appeared by magic. Click on Edit Information to start adding and changing any of this info. I've called it the Club Setup Demo. This box here, you should not be changing, because that is the website that the Pickleball National System provides to you when you're all done. This is not your club website, such as pickleballwestkelowna.ca or any other organization that you're in. This box shouldn't be changed, and I don't know why they've left it live. You can add the location that your club is, whether it's applicable or not. In every locale in the province, you'll probably want to have the location that it's in. Province, countries here, because this is going to be an international system one day. The people who are behind it are already translating it into Spanish. They want to see this used elsewhere besides just Canada. Logo for your club. You can upload a file. It can be 3 megabytes in size. I'm going to go find one. Okay, I lost it. Didn't stay in order anyway. You can add a banner. They have a stock list of banners available that you can use. So as you click on choose an image, you can use one of the designed ones that Pickleball Canada and Tracky, the owner of the software, has developed. Use that one. Page color is the background color predominant on your web page. It can be changed to anything under the sun. This is where your club website would be located. I'm going to use my local club for argument's sake so that we can see what it works like later. If you have a Twitter account for your club, that will go in here. URL for a Facebook page can go in here. I'm just going to go steal one. Contact information will appear on your registration form and on the National System webpage. And you can add it. If you want to add phone numbers in there, you can add that as well. You can also add multiple other contacts if you wish. This section coming up next is where you set up the meat of your club. Managing questions refers to the questions you want to ask new applicants to your club. There's a bunch of questions on this page that you cannot change. These are dictated by Pickleball Canada, ones in red. We've added a couple from Pickleball BC that are mandatory. These may or may not change as time goes by, but we want to try and track how many referees we have in the province. If you're a part of a secondary club, they will not be mandatory, but they actually the referee one is a yes or no answer. We want to know if we have certified referees in the province that we're unaware of and how we can keep track of them. I've added these two questions in when I built this. One of the reasons why this is here is that some clubs are asking for specifics about where their people are coming from. Your municipality might want to know if they're getting people from outside their community using their facilities, or you might want to restrict people from outside of your municipality from using the facilities. If you're in a town that doesn't have a lot and you've got a city next door that's got a huge club with limited facilities and they all want to cross the bridge and come visit you, you either want to know or be able to restrict them at some point. And you can do that through this. This is a custom drop-down menu, and you have all sorts of options on how this question is answered. If it's a textual, they'll have to write in where they're from. Many of these others are not applicable for this particular question, but custom drop-down is. And we'll see how that shows when we get around to doing the registration. This last one is what level of play do you wish to participate in? Because one of the club was asking for this as a radio button inquiry of all registrants, because they have certain times and certain locations where they have this level of play. You can have as many options in here as you want, including adding more to this particular question or any question that's you're willing to ask a new registrant. Waiver forms are, again, club specific. There is a Pickleball Canada waiver on every registration form. There is a Pickleball BC one that we've built, but will probably be changed before we go live. You can add a waiver item for your club. I'm going to steal a waiver that I've got from my local club. This particular waiver, come on, copy that. This particular waiver was built at the request of the city of West Kelowna. They wanted some protection for themselves once we started leasing their facilities. Every municipality, every club is going to be different. You may not need a waiver. You might need something more specific or less. A digital signature required means that it has to be signed. And I've had some discussions with one of the clubs who have a retired Supreme Court justice on their roster. A digital checkbox or even a text response to a waiver is kind of useless, but it's what we have. Signature required if you're under the age of majority. One of the questions that Pickleball Canada asks is age. Some clubs are encouraging younger people to join. Some clubs can't because they're in a senior facility. They can only have 55 plus, but this is worthwhile having checked off and ready to go. I'm going to save this. Yeah, this is club waiver. And save. You can rearrange where this is going to be as well. Not quite sure why I have two PBC waivers. Interesting. I would suggest that this goes to the top of the pile. Your club waiver should be the first thing that somebody wanting to join your club takes a look at to see what your stipulations are if you have them, or just make sure that they know who you are. Additional purchases, if your club sells hats and t-shirts, you can build those in here. I'm not going to go through that today because not many clubs are going to do that, but it's available and it's quite versatile as far as describing or showing pictures of the product you're going to build, adding sizes, colors, all sorts of interesting options to that. Custom messages are here. There's 4 different options here. Confirmation receipt. You can send an email to a new registrant when they join your club. It'll be part of the email receipt process. This will be a welcome email, virtually the same thing, except after the confirmation. Welcome to the West Kelowna Pickleball Club. Happy to have you here for 2021. Renewal emails, and there'll be a schedule for this later on sending them out 30 days before your memberships expire, and people will be, or up to 30 days before memberships expire. And all your existing members will get an email asking them to renew with your club. Registration page is a script that will go at the top of the page. I'm going to add something else in here. Wish I could spell. Why I'm adding this is that certain clubs are going to want to collect their dues through this system. Certain clubs are not. They either like the registration package that they're using already or don't have dues. There are some that are out there, not very many. But this just highlights at the top of the registration page what you want your members to do. And don't think I need to go through any more of these other than say, welcome. Sponsorships are something that a lot of clubs do have, especially the larger ones. You can manage your sponsors by adding in their logo. And this one here happens to be Friends Pub. And again, I wish I could spell. This logo and a link to this website will show up on your PCNS website. Oops. The last one is managed news, and this is articles you can have back on the PCNS website for your club. You can put your schedule in there. You can add information about when your courts open, when they close. It will be on the page if you wish to have it there. Entirely up to you how you populate this and whether or not you figure it's needed. You can have a date that it starts. And let's just pick a realistic date, because in Kelowna, I don't think anybody's playing until early April.
Rod, it's Ken. Can you run this as a sort of an ongoing blog, or is it just a one single news article?
It can be an ongoing list of articles on there, and you can roll them out because you can add this is another thing that will show up on your club webpage as a document. This can be a text or a link to a file that can show up on your webpage. You pretty well have to do that manually every time you want to change it, but it is a blog. You can add or delete or continue to add on top of old articles, new information about your club.
So you can have newsletters or something that way.
Newsletters would be perfect for that. Okay, this is again going to show up on your website. It's much more stuff there than you might actually use. You'll have to pick and choose what you want to see there. We'll see it when it's all put together later. Once I click on advanced options, this web page that I've been talking about, the PCNS web page, you can either hide it or not from the public. Public's going to have to find a way to register with your club through this, or with at least register their name with your club. If you press no here, the web page is still there. It just says it's disabled when you land on it. It really is not pretty looking. I would keep it public. If you want to delete a lot of the information on it, you can. It's the website is very customizable anyway. I'll show you what we've done with the Pickleball BC one a little bit later on. This public confirmation list, this can show up on that website with all of the names of the people in your club. You can choose whether that's shown to the public or not. For privacy reasons, I wouldn't want it there, but that's my take. Social media sharing is your Facebook links or any other links that you've added to the website. Honestly, don't know what this one's about. They've added a few things since the last time we was in here, but this, yeah, this is your entry list, and you can combine it with other clubs pages. These are the other clubs that I'm an administrator in. You won't be able to have access to these, but if you're administrators on another site, you can combine those lists. That might work well if you got Kelowna and West Kelowna joined together as a tandem, but not many people would. This page can be redirected. This being the public web page can go to another site. We will do this probably for Club BC. People join Pickleball BC but don't have a club. They're actually a member of Club BC. We'll point them back to Pickleball BC, and that's all it'll be associated with after the fact. That's, again, something that most clubs won't have to deal with. Billing phone numbers, yes, no, I would hide them at the very least for privacy reasons as well. Entry notification. You can receive an email as an administrator for everybody who registers with your club. This goes back to the municipality information that I asked about in one of those questions. If you don't want somebody from Peachland joining your club in West Kelowna because of municipal restrictions, you'll have to get these email notifications when people do apply. Then over here, you can manually approve or deny entries. Most clubs won't have to deal with this, but I know of at least one that does. They don't want people crossing borders from one municipality to another because of lack of facilities in both communities. Google Analytics is something I really have no idea what it is. I don't know of too many people who have a Google Analytics account, and I doubt if, well, again, it's something I really don't know anything about. Managing access to your club. This here allows registrants to edit their information later. Some people put in the wrong phone numbers, or they change phone numbers, they change their address, whatever it happens to be. If you want them to be able to edit themselves, you can turn this on. Enabling scratches. This is set up as an event friendly operation. There are other entities that use this software base, Taekwondo in Canada and track and field in Canada. They have events that people will sign up for. We don't have that running yet. It's in the progress. Well, actually, the legal teams are getting together with how we're going to buy a contract from a provider for tournament, ladder, and league play, and integrate it into the system. It'll be up and running before everything goes live. But this is what scratches are. If you have an event that's running next Thursday, men's round robin, people will apply for it until it's full, then they can scratch and somebody else can go in. If you say no scratches, then it's the first 40 people into your round robin and that's all you get. So this will probably be enabled, but we don't have events yet anyway. Hide on Pickleball Canada refers to hiding anybody being able to find your club. The demo clubs, the sample clubs, they'll eventually be hidden, still active, but hidden. If you want to be a private entity, you can hide it there. But for the most part, everybody's going to say no, so people can find you. Disabling registration, you can do that so that you can play with the registration form, add more questions, fool around with it as much as you want with nobody having access to the system, and then turn it back on when you're done. Setting up an access code, this is another way that you could limit who joins your club, because you can send your members a code 1234 that is the only way that you can get in and become a member. It prevents anybody from the public from joining, but it will be an option for some clubs. And back to this manually approved. Okay, this is, like I said, this is for track and field. As a race director, you can manually approve each entry. And again, that's another way to limit somebody from Peachland joining your club if they have a Peachland address. You can deny them access at that point. They will not be charged for their entry until you approve them anyway. Again, that's not something that's going to be specific or used by many clubs, but it will be used by a couple. And again, restrict access to specific emails. If you don't want anybody with a Hotmail account, I honestly don't know why you would even use this, but it's there. Volunteer promotion, you can add a video, or pardon me, you can view a video, which they haven't built yet. Same thing on donations. You click on this, you'll see that it's, oh, it might, yeah. Try back later. It's not live yet. Again, in the track and field world, they have promotional opportunities or volunteer opportunities. This is going to be handy to have if you have a tournament, and that you can have a link to how you can recruit referee desk, referees for your tournament, anybody who can assist with a particular program. I'm going to update all of that. Going to move on next to age categories. Most clubs are going to be open. We're trying to get everybody we can to play pickleball. There are certain communities, though, if you're in a seniors social center, who won't allow anybody under 55 years old. There's a couple of clubs in the interior that are like that. They can't have anybody under. So you would add a custom category and limit it by ages. Okay, you can call it and limit it by age. Minimum age has got to be 55. Oops. And maximum age 99. Now, with this particular case, these won't apply. You were trying to make sure that only a certain age group can get in. Most people will not have this to deal with. Most of our clubs will be open. You'll be trying to get everybody in that you can get to your club. Membership types. Sometimes clubs have equity memberships. And you can add as many as you want here. Male and female can join. You can limit the number of registrations. All of this is more information than most clubs are going to use. Most of us are going to have open clubs, single memberships. You're going to pay your $50 a year or whatever your club dues happen to be. And the membership will be open and available to anybody who applies.
Rod, can that be used for like family memberships too, where you may offer, two spouses and their kids a bulk deal?
Yes. Yeah, these can be listed and changed to payments and deadlines. We'll get into that in a minute. But you can add, let's go, youth. Oops, back to this. Add membership type. Male and female are all available. You can move these around on your page. Payments and deadlines will show up next. Now, I know Kent from West Kelowna has been dealing with this one. This is kind of a weird line in that once you click on one, you'd think it would take away the other one, but it doesn't at the moment. I've given options in some of the updates that I've sent about having adopt the entire package from the Pickleball Canada national system. Becomes a one-stop shop where your registrants pay for their Pickleball Canada membership, Pickleball BC membership, and your club dues all at the same time. You can also have no charge for registration, free membership, but people will still join your club and have access to the event management system when it's running. You'll have full access to the database of your membership. You'll be able to ensure that they've paid their Pickleball Canada and Pickleball BC dues because they can't join your club without paying those organizations first. Deadlines are going to be changing from club to club. Some clubs are year-round, some clubs are seasonal. You can set a closing date for registrations. You can add a late deadline. That it closes off at the end of the year. And let's go back to this one. I lied. I missed a step somewhere. That's still there. Okay, there we go. Regular deadline. If your fees are $50 for the year per registrant, again, this is when you set up another registration for a tournament. These can be added here, but for club registrations, this will stay under per registrants. You can add a custom price that would be age specific, family and group, and a maximum charge. If you have a family plan, $50 a piece, $100 for a family of 4, you can add this in here. Maximum number of 4 members, minimum required is 1. Options here are to set it as, the first one's $50, second one's $25, third one could be $15, next one could be $10 to get your $100 fee. This was the family registration group that I added. And there's all sorts of options here again. More often than not, clubs are going to go for individual memberships. We're really dealing with seniors for the most part. If a couple plays, they're usually more than willing to both pay their membership for each of them, but some clubs might decide to do it differently. Different types of registrations are for you can change it to the two choices we made when we added membership types, youth membership or family membership. And you can add both memberships if you wish. Some person can sign up as both a youth and a family if they wish. It's you're getting down a rabbit hole here a lot of cases and providing more options and more information than I think most clubs are going to be comfortable with organizing and comfortable with providing. More often than not, every club in BC has a set fee per member. Any questions on the payments and deadlines? Late deadline. This is what I wanted to add. If you wanted to add a late deadline fee, only applicable to youth memberships or family memberships, you can build this in so that I lost my calendar box. Interesting. There was a calendar box here not 5 minutes ago that showed a date that I put in of October the 30th. Where I was trying to go with this anyway was to build a time that if you're a seasonal club in mid-August, late August, you can charge half of your regular membership fee per registrant because they've only got a month or so of the season left. An option. We've done that in West Kelowna, and it's available to you through this. All of a sudden trying to figure out how it works, mind you. Interesting. If I find out where that goes, I'll come back to it. My apologies. Other information about payments. There is a processing fee to use this system. We've gone through it before in some of the updates. It works out to 4.9% of your total transaction, plus 50 cents, plus provincial sales tax on your purchase. You can decide to charge each registrant for this so that it's a addition. If your total fees are $50, the transaction fee will be on top of that, or your club can decide to absorb that processing fee. I'm going to charge each registrant, and we'll talk about refunds. You can manually submit refunds, and I would suggest that you can have people who are going to ask for a refund, whether through injury or circumstances change, and you can decide whether or not you're going to give them their money back or not, or decide really early on in the system that there will be no club refunds. This also works when the event system is running. When you set up a tournament, you can decide whether refunds will be available or automatically returned to people who scratch out of your tournament. Refunds, less fees. And this is the Canadian banking information where your money for your club is going to be returned to when when you call for it from Pickleball Canada. And this is obtained off of any bank check that your club has. I'm going to go back to, okay. There it is. Interesting. Click. There we go. Okay, your regular deadline for this club should be running up until August 31st. Your late deadline entries will come in, pay $25 after August 31st, up until the end of your season, whatever date you pick for that. Okay, and basically the club is set up at this point. You've chosen, let's go back to the top, your club location, contact info that it's going to be available both on your registration form and on your club website. We've added the questions. You don't see those in there right now, but you can specifically go through and change them from here. It's easiest to do through this. You have family memberships, you have youth memberships. Your deadline for registration is good until these dates. Late deadline is good until that date. Your banking information is here. Your refund submission entry is populated here. You're really well ready to go. Back to this, back to here, back to my club. Now, this last box over here, view web page. Click on that and you'll see the information that I've added. Oops, I disabled that. I forgot to put it back. Down in here, I left this one clicked. That black banner that's in there says this page is disabled. It's not very pretty. So we will enable the website. It's hard to get around this thing sometimes. I know Kent asked me today if we could have a couple other links in here to see our registration page and go back to other useful sites. But this is the information that we have added today to this club. The banner that I chose, the logo, name of the club is listed here. This link is to the website that I added to. And this would be the off-board website for your club. Interesting. I haven't seen this page for a couple of days. There's more information here. Too many windows open. The information about deadlines. Registration is opened because I said it is open. My logo didn't show up well. But this will be a live link to the friends.ca website as well. The contact info that I added to the page, yeah, it will show up again later. The other information that I added that said courts were open and the date that it is. This is this blog section that you can do. This is the admin screen. When a public gets in, they don't see this box. But as an admin, you can go in and add to this. This could be the blog that you were talking about, Ken, to add more information to this anytime you wish. It's a little bit easier link than going through your registration setup page. In fact, I think this is new. I hadn't seen this one before. This sends you to your register page. When the public comes in and wants to join, there's two ways for them to do it. We'll go through both of those today. And again, this is the off-board website. You can change the layout of this page using these links here. Additional content, the left side menu was what shows up on the left side. There's no information there. The top menu has nothing in it yet. These can be added to. You can add links to other documents, pages, your municipal website for West Kelowna or Quesnel or wherever you happen to be. If they have information about pickleball in your community, you can have a live link right to their page. And you do that by adding here. This will call and a link to, oh well, let's try that one just for fun. And then it didn't show up. Anyway, let me try to refresh. Interesting. It's not there. You can customize this layout. This is the boxes that are available on that page from the information that we put in already. You can hide these things from the public. You can hide the payment methods. You can hide any of this stuff. All of this was built when the system took your information, when the Pickleball Canada national system took the information that you typed in the last hour, it put it on the page. You might not want it all out there. And I had removed the payment information. I'd still like to know where that banner went. Interesting. There it is. Knew it would show up eventually. You can add as many button boxes up here as you want. And again, that was based on that additional content box. This can be, come on, click. There we go. It can be a content. It can be a a file, a folder. It can be text. You can have your waiver in here. You can have as much information as you want. When someone clicks on that button, they'll be presented with either the link that you've chosen or the waiver information that you want. Let's just show that. Okay. That's interesting. No, I didn't add it into the top bar. I put it on the side. As soon as you click on the waiver info, your text shows up here. So you can add links to what's new and coming. Your club schedule can be in here as a link. You can have it's versatile to add as much information or as little as you want. The Pickleball BC one is going to be pretty plain Jane, in that we're going to link everybody back to our off-board website, other than registering. But when people land on this page for your club, the very least that they will see is register. That's mandatory from the system. As soon as you click on register, they can join your club. I don't know how many of you have gone through the other PowerPoint presentation that I sent out about joining a club, but for argument's sake, we'll join the demo club at the moment. I'm going to go in as a new to Pickleball Canada member. The renewing one works sometimes. This click to look up membership number, we're working with a demo database. It doesn't always find everyone. There are times when it found myself and my wife just fine, but several of you have emailed me to say that you can click in to look yourself up. You're from BC, your first name, last name goes in, your sex is there, and the birth year that is accurate for you is something that Pickleball Canada might not recognize. A lot of the memberships in Pickleball Canada seem to have a birth year of 1969 because a lot of clubs didn't collect that and they just punched those numbers in randomly. We have a member from West Kelowna who was born in 2016. He's a grandfather, but he's 5 years old. When this stuff does go live, I have been assured that either the information will be accurate or they'll come up with a box that says, okay, we'll interrogate that database. This is Rod Williams, but there's 4 of them in there. Is this one you or this one you? You'll have a drop-down box to pick and choose the right person so that it will populate your membership number. Refresh this and start again. I am new to Pickleball Canada. My name is I am a male. It populates your postal code based on Canada Post information for the address. It didn't find my address in here, but it'll find lots. I'm assuming it'll find most. Actually, let's use a real one. It needs your phone number. It needs an emergency contact. And this secondary club is in here because Pickleball Canada and Pickleball BC are kind of curious if people are members of multiple clubs. I'll show you what happens with this a little bit later. This was the question from Pickleball BC. Are you a certified referee? And what city do you live in? The drop-down box. And what level of play do you wish to participate in? The question that we added for this club. The membership types, whether they're going to be a family or a youth membership. Now this should kick me out because I did add ages to it, I believe. No, pardon me. Let's just go this way. Club waiver is, I added it to the top of the pile, so it'll show up first. You have to read and agree. This is the Pickleball Canada waiver, read and agreed, and the Pickleball BC one. As far as I know, Pickleball Canada's is written in stone. They'll leave it that way. We're working on how we're going to address this. Right now on our club, pardon me, the Pickleball BC website, we have a link that talks about PIPA information in BC. And that's really all that we cover because we don't deal with clubs and club administration. That's your guys' job up here in your own waiver. But we want to assure people that the information that we receive from them will be handled carefully. Yeah. Somehow or another, we ended up with two sets of waivers. Remember when I first went through this, I was wondering why we had two. I'll have to go through and edit that, but they have both been duplicated. And this has to be put in exactly the way it was spelled at the top of the page, according to Rumor. Proceed to step 2. I must not have clicked on the PBC waiver. I did there. I did not there. Confirm the registration details below. My name is Wallace Winder. That was my birth date. I am a non-member of PCO yet. I will get one in a return email from them. This is the club that I've joined. This is the membership that I'm purchasing. Pickleball BC is $250. Pickleball Canada is $10. Total fees on that are $3.65. Again, as a club, you can decide if you're going to eat those fees or deal with your administration and membership tracking outside of the system by turning this into a non-paid membership. But at least the membership will be listed and you'll have access to the database. And here, once you click on that, all the information for the first page is added. It asks again for your phone number, not mandatory at this point. There was a question in our club setup whether you wanted this to be a mandatory field. It's there, but it doesn't have to be filled out. It can be though. Including extension numbers. And registration is confirmed. This was the text that I added in the welcome section of the custom messages. Pickleball BC has its own, Pickleball Canada has its own. That's built into our own registration profiles on and club profiles on the system. And there we go. We've joined the club. You can join an additional one from here. We're all set and ready to go. Now you can open up your mics and ask all the questions you got.
It's a bit of silence, isn't there, Rod?
I noticed that. I think I scared them off.
Rod, this is James. Can you hear me?
I can.
Go through that fee schedule from the $50 and how you came up with 365.
Okay. The fees for you, Tracking is the owner of the software that this thing is built on. The only way they're making money from this entire project is through the transaction fees. They're charging 4.9% processing and credit card processing fees and a service fee for use of every transaction. 4.9% of the total fee plus 50 cents plus PST on the fees.
So what's the total fee? Is it $50 or is it $62.50?
Well, on this one here, it's $50 for club membership. Pickleball Canada is $250. Pickleball BC is $250. Pickleball Canada is $10. Total of $62.50. But the fees associated with that are $66.15. Pardon me, the fees are $365 for a total of $66.15.
So they're taking 4.9% off of on 50.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're taking 4.9% off of $2.50.
Yep.
Then they're taking 4.9% off of $10.
Yep.
And then they're taking 50 cents.
Yep.
That should come up to 365.
It comes close. Right now,
I can't make it work.
In this particular instance, the Pickleball BC fees are set up to absorb the cost. We're eating on this example anyway, and that's up for discussion at the Pickleball BC board on how we're going to deal with this. But I've set the example up so that we absorb the fees. Pickleball Canada is going to be charging for the fees, period. I was told that yesterday. Your club can decide if it's going to absorb its portion of this 365 or not.
Yeah, well, when I do the math, I get 356 without PST, right? So I guess that's 365. Yeah.
Close enough. Right now, you, like I say, you're not being billed for the 4.9% on the 250 charge. So 4.9% plus 50 cents on 62.50. Pardon me, I've got a calculator up. Yeah, mine trickles out to 65.56 plus PST.
Well, that's what mine came out to.
Mm-hmm. But you're only going to be paying the PST on this fee.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining about
as I know.
I have no issue with the fees,
Yeah.
Frank. I just want to make sure I understand them.
Yeah, they've never actually meshed
Okay.
the numbers that they show with the numbers that they say they're charging.
I mean, I just find it interesting, Rod, that on a $50 membership fee, at the end of the day, using my calculations, that 356 that you got,
Mm-hmm.
the net, and we also have a $5 lease fee to the club, right? To the city.
Yep.
Person. Out of $50, we net $28.
Right.
Which is, about 57% of that 50.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting. I'm just,
Every club does it differently. I know Surrey's got a lease fee of $55 or something ridiculous like that per member. Other clubs are different for what they pay their cities. That's why the fees are different all over the province.
yeah, but I
Clubs
just,
on the island have a total $12.50 fee right now.
but
for the
I'm
pickleball
thinking,
NCA.
I'm thinking, Ron, like, you know more about this than all of us, that for me, that I calculate the transaction fees without the city lease about 7% on that $50.
Yeah.
And what's PayPal?
PayPal
PayPal
is-
is
Go ahead.
2.9 plus 30 cents.
Yeah.
2.9,
It's just-
that was 3.3, but anyway, it's about 3% ballpark plus a transaction fee. It's higher than PayPal fees. There's no doubt about it. It's also providing membership management, which is
Oh,
what you're
I'm
paying
not
for.
really complaining. I'm just
Um,
making sure I understand the math.
Yeah. In the case of West Kelowna and Kelowna, we've been using Trackit Hub for years. It's
Mhm.
free for now. Last year, they were going to charge $1.95 a month per member, and backed off of that because everybody threw up their hands and said, nope. But there's clubs that are using Wild Apricot or Member Leap or Memby, which are paid administration services right now. And North Van's using one as well. I can't remember the name of it. But you have to decide as a club.
If you work in a team, you've got to try Monday.com. Go to Monday.com and manage all your team's work.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
There's clubs that love their membership management systems. If you're going to stick with that, I would still recommend you build your presence on here, make your membership free so that you can still have invites and access to the tournament and event software package that Pickleball Canada is going to be providing. If you don't have any events, you don't need that. If you have scheduled round robins, scheduled social events even, you'd like to have access to a way to invite people to do that. But if you want to run your membership management outside of this system, still build your club, make it free, and then have instructions at the top of the page, which I forgot to look for. I wonder if I can get back to that without killing myself. Yeah, this information here I added as one of the custom messages. If you're building your club in the system, but want to manage your membership outside of it, use a highlight like this. To join our club and pay dues, go to the democlub.ca or northvan.ca, whatever the club name is. And that should fit the bill for you. This is not the approved Pickleball Canada response, but it works. And every club's going to have a different choice on how they want to do this.
Rod, could you show us again where you would set that statement up?
Okay, my account, my members. Edit settings. Oops. Edit information. Custom messages. Confirmation receipt. I can probably show you my email. The welcome email, the renew email I built. This is the registration page. This was the same text that we saw at the top of that registration page.
Got it, thanks.
So
I guess-
Ron, I've asked you this a few times, but when can clubs in BC actually use this system?
That's the $64 question. Our database in BC is pretty good. Our club preparation is hopefully after today, going to be very good. The clubs that want to be involved in it and use the system, whether they make it a one-stop shop or you can register here but go pay there for club dues, we can have half of our clubs set up within a week. We're, I think, the biggest membership base in the country. Walter can answer that for certain, but with 6,600 members, they're a little bit afraid of us. And that we get 6,600 people in there all applying at once, then they're really going to find out where their shortcomings are in the rollout of the system. They want to use the territories, the maritime provinces, Manitoba and Saskatchewan first, get them in there, give it a bit of a trial by fire, then allow the big boys, Alberta, BC, and Ontario and Quebec in gradually. I think they'd like to make us last. I'd still like to make us first. So I really don't have a date that this will be ready for use.
From what you're saying, it doesn't sound encouraging to be able to use this for, say, an April 1st membership year this year.
I keep pushing. I think so. The original time frame that they were talking about was summertime. And I saw no reason for us to hold off. The registration works. What we've actually done probably more beta testing than any of the other provinces have, in that I rolled this information out as soon as I got it to you guys to play with it. You look at some of the demo clubs, they were rather surprised to see that the profiles had been changed on the demos as people were going through adding the Victoria Club or the West Kelowna Club, whatever happens to be on it. People are getting pretty proficient at this pretty quickly. I got a meeting on Tuesday. I'll probably know more about when they want to roll it out to us. They wanted to have it live by February 15th for those smaller provinces. I don't know if it will be or not. I'll find out on Tuesday.
Hey, Rod,
I'll let everybody know.
I'm gonna interject a whole bunch of realism and to a certain extent pessimism. They are far from being ready. If you look at all the things that we have to say, well, that's not here, that doesn't work, and so on. I think we would not be wise to go in there really early, especially with 6,500 members.
Yeah.
We're looking at one or two clubs that we think are on top of everything, but I'm personally, I'm not happy with the number of the workarounds and fixes that people have to do in addition to the January 1 date. That hasn't been decided yet. Neither has $5 or $10. So there are some big issues that the upper brass at PCO have to address and explain what they're up to before we really want to throw all our money into this basket. There are some workarounds that Rod talks about that many of the clubs here are going to go for, and I'm not sure how long that's going to be appreciated by either Pickleball Canada or Tracking. You take a club like Kelowna, for example, if they collect their funding, their local funds on their own, that's going to take a few $1,000 of revenue away from Tracking on the 5% basis or 4.9% basis. I can see a number of clubs here doing that, not only for the 4.9%, but for the time frame. So,
Walter, just in that regard, we're already having members starting to renew for next year. And so we're wondering, should we be telling them to go to Pickleball, to PCO to take out their memberships there, or should we continue collecting the PCO and Pickleball BC dues on their behalf? And this is not 3 months away. This is like we've already had about 4 members in the last week rejoin.
there's quite a few members across the province that are rejoining it, and until Rod and I push the button, nobody can go to PCO and join direct. And there's
So
a
we
couple,
should continue collecting the
you
fees.
you continue collecting like it was 2018. There's a couple other steps that we have to get through. And, you know, you need bank accounts and all that kind of stuff before you can get on formally registered on the system. You're going to need to sign an MOU with us, every club, a new one, before you're allowed to participate as well. It's a simple little document, but it's a PCO requirement, and it's a requirement that I fully support, and I'll be coming with that document in the next week or so. So there are some other holdups. An individual cannot go register until basically we have the club ready. We will have most likely a few clubs going in first. Again, if we won't have 6,500 people all at once, but we could have 3,000 people attempting to sign up as individual memberships. And Rod's email box is not big enough to handle questions from even a small percentage of that. So the idea of putting in the Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and the Maritimes first is they were directly onto the Pickleball Canada system already. So it's just kind of a carryover. They have no other option. Whereas Alberta, BC, Ontario, and Quebec, we are registering our members differently than the other 7 entities, including the Yukon.
So Walter, just adding on to Ken's question there, our membership, most of our members who are PCO members, their membership is not due until September the 30th, 2021. So we really don't have to collect their membership dues because our club is over by that time, then their membership, they don't really need to pay it till the following January 2022. Is that correct?
They don't need to, but if their PCO membership is expiring the end of September or whatever your date is, then they would be playing, should they play in November, December, October, November, December, without the PCO insurance component.
Yeah, but we don't run a club after September 30th. It's public play.
Yeah, but
The
even
insurance
if it's
doesn't cover
public,
you during club time. It covers you when you play in Canada.
Okay.
yeah, it's
Oh.
24/7, whether you're playing in your driveway or you're playing in a league organized event.
So I guess what I'm saying though is not so much just because it's that deadline, then it's on the responsibility of the member to go to PCO and to play, correct?
Correct.
Like I'm not going to collect, I don't know if it's $5 or $10. I'm
And
not going to
either do we,
collect that
yeah.
money for a payment in September.
So in your case, I wouldn't worry about even setting up the system until later on. I'd let the rest of the group fight all the debug hassles.
Right.
But in the case of Surrey, where Ken Nolan is, and they're current, you take memberships as if none of this existed at the present time. You take them at Pickleball Canada, $5. That is one statement that Pickleball Canada has made. If you get in before they put their deadline date, which last one was April 1st, you get a membership payment before that, it's $5. But you continue to collect them on your own, send spreadsheets into Rod, and we process them normally until further notice, so to speak.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing dozens and dozens a week of memberships. Some clubs start this year, they're year round or whatever the case may be. Since January 1st, we've probably done 450 to 500 membership renewals. So.
And surprisingly, that's 2 or 3 new clubs forming and coming into existence as well.
I got a question. Once this thing gets rolling, what about people that don't own computers or other people that won't pay by credit card?
They can sell their paddles.
And now you're being nasty.
That's a problem that has not been finalized. We're not allowed to group pay, so you can't collect from those 4 individuals and pay as a group. it's still an individual process, and you might have to use your credit card to help them through it or not. I mean, Rod did this 2 years ago in West Kelowna. Same kind of thing. It is not friendly for those that are unable to use a credit card to pay or unwilling to use a credit card to pay.
Back to the club setup info. This green box over here, you can manually add a registration.
And who pays? How they pay?
That's going to have to be paid by whoever fills out this form. If your club administration does this form, they will have to pay either with their own credit card or for their own banking information. If somebody comes in and hands you, in the case of that $66.56, and said, I want to join your club, you can fill out this form for them and send the money into Pickleball Canada through your club account. It's painful. And I'm sure that there's lots of clubs out there that have to handle manual registrations. We did in West Kelowna for a few people. It happens every year. Either people will not do the online thing or will not pay online. I know one of the clubs down in the Lower Mainland has several of the people. They'll register online, but they don't want to pay. I can't say I blame them. That's their choice. But this is how you're going to get around that, which means you're either at the court with a Wi-Fi enabled laptop, or they come to your house and register.
And this will show up in if you're having tournaments or something, same thing there.
Yes.
So there's actually more people there than there's people joining the club that won't pay by, they want to pay cash.
Well, we ran the Canadian Super Seniors tournament here for a couple of years, and we didn't have anybody who wouldn't pay online. The software was run by pickleballtournaments.com at the time, and everybody paid online.
Well,
we
the thing
didn't
is,
have any other options for them.
Yeah, I know that, but that's what I mean. Like they'll be precluded from playing. Really, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've used the term before. Pickleball Canada's take on that is too bad, so sad. This is an online format. It needs to be online for their purposes. It doesn't always work when the rubber hits the road down at the club level.
Just out of curiosity, this is James. What are clubs charging members for membership this year? West Kelowna is doing $50.
Yeah, it's all over the map. Some clubs are $200. Some clubs are $12.50. It all depends on the facilities you have and the services you provide. If you're going to provide pickleballs to all your members, you've got a set cost for that. It's always an apples and oranges argument. So I see what they are in some clubs, but not all. But like I say, in some of them, $75 is not that uncommon. $80, $90. Like I say, it was Surrey, I believe, pays $55 a year per member to the city for their facilities. So any other questions that we missed out of that chat? There was a question about insurance that I saw. I think we covered that.
What's the best way to use this system if we first want our club members to go through our website?
What do you want them to do on your website?
I would like them to access this system by going to the front page of our website, and we'll have some sort of a button there to direct them to this system.
You have a link that says, I want to register as a West Kelowna member. It links directly into the Pickleball Canada site.
Yeah.
Probably to the registration page directly, Ron.
Yep, let me just show you this here.
So for many of your privately held, let's say, websites, it'll be, you put a button that has the URL to the page that Rod's probably going to show us.
Yeah. Can you see the club setup demo page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
This URL at the top, which is, mine's hidden underneath the Zoom detail at the top here. But that website there, I don't know if you can see the, was it 31917?
Yeah,
That you can have a link to this page from your club website, from the West Kelowna Club website, from whoever it happens to be, directly to this site, or you can link it to the, let's see if I can get to it. You can have a link directly to this PCNS webpage. Tell them to click on the register button. That might be a better place to point everybody rather than straight to the form.
yeah.
I was going to show you other
Sorry, Rod, what did
Yep.
you just say? PCNA website? I
PCNS.
didn't really.
This thing's had 5 different,
PCN.
Pickleball Canada National System.
Okay.
This is the 5th name I've called this thing since I got rolling on this, which is now almost
So
2 years ago.
So you want them to when they're making their payment to Pickleball BC and PCO, you want them to go directly to Pickleball Canada, not to Pickleball BC, which is what we had to do before?
When they hit this register button, if they're not registered with Pickleball Canada or Pickleball BC already, they'll have to. If I wish to join another club after this, after I've filled up my registration with this club, and I click register on the West Kelowna Club or the Quesnel Club, whichever one it happens to be, I will not be asked for Pickleball Canada, Pickleball BC dues, just club dues if applicable.
So can you send us a like a logo, like that Pickleball BC or Pickleball Canada logo that we can then put on our website and hide the button underneath? So when they click on the logo, they go to that.
You want that logo up that's shown in the top left corner?
This one?
Yeah, because I have like a Pickleball Canada logo, but it's not the right size. It's too small and it gets really fuzzy when I put it into documents. So I'm wondering if you can let everyone, the clubs in BC, access to maybe several different sizes of logos so that when we add it to our website, we have a proper logo.
Honestly, the logos that I've used here and the ones that I used in other locales, just copy and paste it off of websites. I copied it from a
Okay.
site and saved it to my computer.
Is that Karen Austin?
Yes, it is Karen Austin, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not that
can-
computer literate.
I can send that logo out and it would probably come in a fairly large format, but you just grab the corners and shrink it down.
Okay, thank you, Walter.
And, you know, whether you want to hide your stuff behind that or just say, hey, register here.
And have a button, yeah.
I think if I could try to answer your question there first, if you got the returning member or anybody that comes to your website and wants to register, you click on this Pickleball Canada icon button, and it'll take them directly to the Pickleball Canada site. There is no stopping at Pickleball BC for any reason.
Okay, thank you.
And at that point, they register for, they say what province they're at, what club they want to register for, and then it's bang, they get all those charges on the face.
Thank you, Walter.
All right.
So Rod, Bill Dorfman here again.
Yes.
Since you basically can't really tell us when this system will be available, you did tell us last month that there's going to be a time when we are not allowed to collect fees and pass them up to Pickleball Canada and Pickleball BC. Like right now, if someone wants to go to get Pickleball Canada membership, they go to Pickleball BC.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is when is that no longer going to be available? Because seems to me that's going to be the deadline at which we have to start using the national system.
When the system goes live and we're allowed into it, we should be stopping to collect from clubs. You joined through the Pickleball BC website. These other clubs that are indicated here on the screen, they send me spreadsheets of their new signups along with the details. Walter has the template for that and how it works. You don't have to send your members. For everybody who doesn't know Bill, he's part of the Vancouver Pickleball Association, which is brand new. They're really just getting organized now and don't have a membership base as yet. As they build it though.
Well, we have
Definitely.
760 members. They're just
Yeah.
not paying so far.
That's right. Yeah,
If
they're
you bring
not
those
affiliated.
760 with payments, we'll take them any way you can, Bill.
Okay, I'll shut up now. Yeah.
Currently, I think between Rod and Alan, they've communicated the methods that we're currently using, right, Bill? Collect everybody's
Yes.
money, send it on the spreadsheet. Until further notice,
We
that's the
won't-
route for everybody.
Yeah, we want to stop doing that because I'm trying to work myself out of a job, but we'll do it as long as necessary.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
And we heard that was 765, no shortchanging us.
So Rod, I'm Pat Andrews,
Pat?
Vernon.
Yep.
I just have a question. You said down the line, they will be able to manage ladders and
Correct.
things like that in terms of results, or is that just registration?
No, results as well. Barry Montgomery will be able to answer those questions for you, and that he's involved with the interface with a company called brackets.com out of Buffalo, New York. That's the preferred supplier that Pickleball Canada has chosen. That's the legal aspects that they're working through right now, trying to get a contract with them to integrate their system into the PCNS.
That's
it will-
pickleballbrackets.com.
Yeah, sorry, pickleballbrackets.com.
So Pat, you know Barry, he'll give you the short story and the long version.
Yeah.
So our situation is we're just inputting a new management system, Jeggisoft.
Yep.
And Barry's going to use brackets. So now we're hearing about this system. So I'm just wondering down the road where we should be heading.
Your renewal date is October 1st, October 31st, I
For-
believe.
Yeah.
You've got time. You can run your club the way you see fit this year. But when people renew for Pickleball Canada, when they renew their memberships in October, we're not going to be accepting those spreadsheets anymore. They will have to go to these websites and join Pickleball Canada and Pickleball BC through the PCNS.
Right. I'm just thinking in terms of integrating everything, having one system that handles everything, basically.
I know one of the clubs in the Lower Mainland has asked for an interface between their management system and this. Kind of went over like a lead balloon when I asked it. Pickleball Canada is the driver here. They're pushing their system pretty hard for their own reasons. It works well for them. Works pretty well for Pickleball BC. There are some issues with how clubs will interface with it. And that's really, like I said earlier, that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where people are more prone to get their backs up on how it works. Because like in West Kelowna, this will be the 4th different member management system we've used in 5 years. And several other clubs in the same boat. Several of them have started new ones, such as Jiggysoft, or some people are going to Wild Apricot in the last year because they didn't know this was coming.
Right.
If your club is contemplating a different member management system at this point, a new one, I suggest you slow down a little bit and take a look, because there are aspects of registration that Pickleball Canada will force through their own system. You can run your local requirements locally, but Pickleball BC and Pickleball Canada registrations will come member by member into the Pickleball Canada PCNS. The number of hours that it will save us at the PBC level is huge.
Yes. There's dozens of hours a week involved, even in this time of year, on membership renewals and applications. That'll go away for the 3 people who do most of this work right now. So that's why I'm a little excited about it. Any other questions?
Any word of what Bonnie Henry's going to do?
Stay the course.
I mean, like we all we can offer right now is singles pickleball and pickleball with same family members playing on the same side.
Yep, and that's going to be that way for a while, likely, but I don't know how long.
Her last word
Got a
was
crystal ball.
Her last word was an indefinite continuation of her February or no January information.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the numbers.
I'd like to thank Rod and Walter for being so helpful. We're a small, just starting club. I have no idea whether we'll be able to get our people to go and individually register with this new system, but I'd like to thank you for all the help you've given me to date.
Yeah, it's been great.
the first year is going to be the worst. I know when we went to an electronic system online in West Kelowna, first year was messy. Second year we changed providers, still messy. Third year was a treat. We really had very little hiccups. Everybody already had a profile in the system, just renewed themselves for the following year. It was just slick. This will end up that way eventually.
Okay.
When we go live, there will be a mass update of the information from our total database. Right now, 6,500 people will be all uploaded. All the information we have will be current. So you get somebody who will probably be encouraging people to go online and check, because things like we're not all born on December 31st, 1969. They should be going online to check, but they don't have to enter in all their information every time. They will be required to put in things like their correct birth date, mailing address, telephone number, and some of those things. But it's not start scratch for everybody, so we are not back at zero for most of the people. So it's certainly not as onerous as starting a brand new system off. We have a fair bit of history that will be brought with us.
Can you give us a month, a ballpark month when this might take place? It's like our dues or our year ends at May the 1st. Wondering.
Yeah, Rand, I'm not sure. You know, personally, I don't know if we're going to make it there for May 1st. I'm a lot more pessimistic than Rod is.
I'll know a little bit more after the Tuesday meeting. We're having one every 2 weeks with all the national primes on this, and more information comes out every week and more questions. But and I try and update as much as I can share of that information when I can, and I'll do that again early next week, middle of next week. Hopefully, I got good news.
This is James. Just in response to Bonnie Henry's current regulations, I know it's a bit off topic, but I mean, our club is really thinking hard about when and if we should even open up as a club. We're not too sure we want to charge $50 per membership. Maybe the system allows us to do something different, which it does, but I'm not too sure $50 membership for single play or same household play is something we want to do this year. So
yeah. Those decisions don't have to be made until your club season opens anyway. And if
yeah,
you know, last year was June 1st for most clubs. You know, the courts weren't open in most municipalities until at least late May or June.
Yeah, but if you remember, Rod, we lobbied hard with the city to even open up that last year.
That's right. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they went, how come you're not open yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just go along those lines with COVID? in Vernon, we have 2 indoor facilities that are going to be operational, and they're big facilities. And we have players now traveling from Kelowna, West Kelowna, Salmon Arm, Armstrong, Enderby, all the places throughout the Okanagan wanting to use these 2 facilities.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure where Bonnie Henry is on that. They have memberships at both facilities, but they're crossing boundaries.
They're crossing boundaries. Karen Watson, who's on the board with us, and I have been in touch with Via Sport, who we get the Bonnie Henry interpretations through. And
Yeah.
we have talked to them about the home club concept.
Mhm.
And, you know, you're right, the interior and something, and lots down here in the lower mainland too. We
Right.
don't know where our home club is, although
Right.
we do in a sense, because most of the Vernonites will claim Vernon as their home club, but they'd like to play someplace else, and same with Kelowna and so on. So
Well, Vernon has,
we may get into, you choose one.
so we have 2, and they're members of both, but they're coming from all over the place.
It's the Lake Country and others that are coming in that we get concerned about, eh?
Salmon Arm,
Yeah.
Enderby, Armstrong, Kelowna.
Must be nice to be popular.
Last summer, I tried to go to Penticton to play, and they said directly, "You're not a member, you're not allowed in."
Yeah, these are members of both clubs, though.
So we might get into forcing people to choose one location,
That would
not
be,
by our direction, but by Via Sport, for example.
yes.
We've had some conversations with them already.
Thank you. That would be good, because it puts us in a spot when we're telling people you know, you're a member, but you can't come to this facility. So anyway, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
I have a sort of a comment about that, Pat, though. If you think about Big White, there are many, many people at Big White that have a season's pass, and they're from Vancouver, or they're from Vernon, or they're from other places, and they're still going up to Big White to ski. So I don't know if that's similar to pickleball, but you know, where do you draw the line? It's just my thought.
Bonnie
Well-
Henry says that's not your home club.
Yeah.
We get people here in Vancouver that are going to Whistler, and they maybe shouldn't because there's local mountains. They don't join all the mountains. Maybe it's a little different, but you know, there's different words coming out of the public health officer saying your home club, your community, don't cross the health zone boundaries. So it's a lot of intent, and let's be reasonable in our interpretation of that intent. Our intent is to stop the spread, stop mixing from area to area. So I say we might get forced into choosing one location to play, even though we've put some money out, 2 or 3. And we heard Rod about 6 times today, restrict the Peachland people. And I think he's aiming it at me.
I'll be kind, I promise.
Any questions, even not PCNS, if you wish.
One of the things I did not get into today was the administrative side for treasurers or secretaries. This was getting too long. I'll get into that again some other day, probably just in a video, because it'll be pretty quick on how to download reports and find access to the information that individual executive members of your club are going to find. That'll be along probably a day or 2 after this video gets posted. Nobody asked questions on it, so I was kind of happy about that, but you will need to know that, and we'll give that information and access to you as soon as we can.
Rod, I have a question from Sunshine Coast.
Yes.
Rod, I noticed PCO has level of play as for each individual, but that doesn't populate on our registration list. Is there a reason for that?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about as far as level of play.
Well, if I search my name on PCO, I have a level attached to it from PCO.
3.5, for example.
Yes.
Mhm.
I presume that's a default, maybe a default level, because other people have higher levels. But that is not a field on our registration data.
I don't know that anybody wants to collect that information.
I'm not, well, we collect it as a club and would probably
Yeah.
continue to collect it as a club.
Mhm.
I'm just curious as to why it would show up for, say, public information. If you question the PCO site, look for members or whatever, and yet it's not appearing anywhere associated with the clubs as a field.
Yeah, the big reason there is we don't want Joe and Sally to put their own numbers in.
Right. No, I understand that.
So-
And in the demo, I mean, that is you can have a question on the level of play that you would like to play at, but
Yeah.
that doesn't give you the level.
No, I put that question in because a
Yeah.
club on the Vancouver Island asked for that. They had anything from 1-0 to 5-0 in half level increments.
Yeah.
As, you know, what is your preferred level of play?
Right.
I don't know why they want to use that information, but I just built it up as an option for the questions you can ask.
No, fair enough. Again, maybe it's a non-issue. It was just curious to me that PCO, for whatever reason, had that information on individuals. And yet that information is not populated on our list.
Mhm.
So there's some sort of separate database happening there.
I don't know where they would have gotten that information on 30,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, not 30,000 of us have ever played in a tournament that PCO has sanctioned. So like I say, I don't know where they got that information from or what purpose they have for having it.
Rod,
Yeah.
that would be useful when you get into formulating ladders and
Yes, it would.
Definitely.
and that's where we're at. We want to do that.
Yeah, I understand that. And in West Kelowna, we did the same through Track and Help. We had the level of play for invites for round robins, et cetera. You can do that through your club rating system a lot easier than Joe and Mary putting in the fact that they're 4 or 5 players when they're 2 5s. That's one of the problems we had, but people do tend to overrate themselves. So the information put in by an individual on registration might not be all that accurate, to be kind. And like I say, I don't know what PCO has for me as a player. And when I go to Vernon as an invitee, you might want to know that, but is it going to be accurate from the PCO standpoint? Like if I say I'm going to show up for a 3-5 or a 4 round robin and I'm a 2-5 player, you might want to have a heads up that I'm coming. I know Kelowna does that. You're not invited to certain levels of play unless you are of a certain level. So they track it. And we kind of did in West Kelowna based on our rating systems intra-club, within the club, not from the database that was populated into Track and Hub's records at the time, or in PCOs. We had a hands-on rating process. Answer your question?
There was another curiosity when I was practicing with the registration, and I gave a fictitious name and filled out a lot of the fields, but not anything to do with financial or even email. And then I submitted that registration and immediately I have a pickleball, a PCO number attached. So,
Yeah,
so I guess that aspect was live or available.
yeah.
And it's showing up in my, so that person is showing up in my member list.
Yeah, and that will go away. Like my new membership for Wallace Winder is 46899, and those, all that information in the demo fields will be blown away when it goes live. The
But this-
database that you see in your club today
Uh-huh.
is based on sometime early last summer. Some of it's accurate, some of it's not, some of it's fictitious, and some of it's perfect. You know, it's just a bit of a hodgepodge.
Okay.
So can I ask a question? It's Kathy and Quinnell.
Sure.
When we do get the okay to go live, will it be club by club? Will it be like the 1st of July or something, and we have a couple days to do it, or how will that be rolled out?
Up for discussion. Certain clubs aren't going to be like Vernon and Kelowna with their October dates. They're not going to be likely that interested or ready to go in June 1st, July 1st, whatever the date happens to be. I just recommend that you have your club ready to go. And then if all of the fields are set up for your membership questions, your cost structure, your database of information and contact info, we can go live within a couple of days and we'll hopefully have some notice on that. I think it will probably be as a bulk. Every club that's ready to go will be turned live. And
Okay.
then I will go in and turn off access to the clubs that aren't ready to go. One of the click boxes that I checked on, do you want to hide your club on Pickleball Canada? Nobody should be hidden there except for clubs that aren't willing, ready, or capable of using the system yet. And we'll get them turned on when they're ready to go. Like
So
I say,
it would just be a matter of filling out the, like, updating your club when it's, you know, you'd open it up and I'd fill it up and we'd be going, we'd be set to go.
yeah, you can, the
Most of that
club
information
information that you
you
can
now.
build. Sorry, Walter.
Most of that information you can put in now.
Yeah.
It's the membership.
Oh, okay. So I'm putting it
membership
in the,
themselves that we will upload for you.
oh, so this test demo now, that information can all go in there and it'll stay there when
Yeah,
it's refreshed?
If you go into the Quinnell Club and build your profile with dollars, cents, banking information, everything that you want, it's there forever. It's not going to go away. It's the
Oh, okay, that's great to know.
membership database will be blown away and then the right one added in the day that we go live.
Okay,